Before I dive in to explain why your summer vacation didn't cure your burnout, I want to say that I hope you did take a vacation. Your body and your brain need that break from your daily routine and all that stress. What I want to manage is the outcome that you may have been expecting from your vacation or maybe some other form of self-care. You may have hoped that it had had a longer lasting effect on your stress levels. Well, I'm going to tell you the secret to why it doesn't. In this video, we are going to talk about why vacations and self-care don't cure burnout. We'll also talk about why you should still take vacations and practice self-care, why making a change is so difficult for all of us, as well as how to create a game plan for change. The reason vacations don't work to cure burnout is because burnout happens for a variety of complicated reasons, and 7 days on a beach isn't going to cure any of them. So the reasons that vacations don't cure burnout is because burnout happens for a variety of complicated reasons, and 7 days on the beach isn't really going to cure any of them. Also, there's usually not a plan to return to your day-to-day life post-self-care experience. At any given time, I can look up the phrase, how to recover from burnout, or something similar to that, and the results are filled with advice that makes more sense to prevent burnout than it does to recover from it. By the time you are burned out, you have far exceeded your body and your brain's capacity for stress. You have, in a sense, done some damage that's going to take some time to repair. And that damage has come from failed coping mechanisms, bad habits, and a work-first mindset. Burnout comes from chronic stress that has depleted your mental, physical, and emotional stores. So the idea that a 60-minute massage or a week-long vacation could fix that kind of damage in one shot is unrealistic at best. While this summary may sound harsh, it is very real because the second you return from that massage or vacation, you re-enter the very environment or situation that triggers your stress response. If you're burned out or looking to prevent burnout, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take a vacation or go get a massage. You should do those things because your body and your brain need that break. You need to continue to incorporate these breaks on a long-term basis. What needs to be managed is the expectation around the outcome. Massages and vacations fall under the category of self-care. I've talked in the past about my feelings about self-care and that I believe self-restoration is a more accurate term. However, the activities that fall under the categories of self-care or self-restoration are merely band-aids unless they're accompanied by change. Change is the final step that gets left out of the self-care, self-restoration conversation that truly makes any of that work helpful. What needs to change? You need to change your environment, a habit, a mindset, the thing that is causing you stress so that your stress response doesn't keep getting triggered. Without this change, you put yourself right back into the spot that lacks the recovery period that drove you to burn out. So let me explain this with a little bit of an example and a story. You go on a 7-day vacation. It is fabulous. You stayed on the beach, you drank some cocktails, and you played in the ocean. You ate delicious food, listened to some amazing local music, and enjoyed the local culture. Now, it's time to go home. Sure, you've considered staying on vacation forever. It's not fair that you need to leave this paradise. True story. My first visit to Maui, I told my husband I wasn't going home. I told him he could ship my dogs and my yoga pants to the island. I also asked the housekeeper at the resort if she was looking for a roommate. But upon your return to work, you can already feel the stress and dread creeping up your spine. You get to your desk and there's a pile of mail, your voicemail's full, you had no idea that your email could hold so many messages, and to boot, Bob from accounting He is standing right at your desk with a question that he has been holding on to since 3 days into your vacation. You are returning to the same environment that caused your stress. So your burnout recovery or your prevention attempts never had a chance because you allowed those stressful triggers to greet you when you opened your office door. You jump right back into a routine that will ratchet your stress levels right back to pre-vacation levels. And any progress that you made is essentially wiped out. So let's talk about how a plan could have changed that outcome. Had you created a plan or a system for yourself that allowed you to return to a changed, less stressful environment, your burnout recovery and prevention could have continued. Prior to vacation, you made a plan that allowed you to manage your stress response once you returned. You set up a system to manage your emails and your voicemails with an out of office response, set up email filters to organize and prioritize your folders and your messages. And you assigned work that needed urgent or immediate attention to another colleague. In this scenario, you are managing your expectations and other people's expectations about when they may receive a call back. You don't feel the pressure to respond to everything at once because, as part of your plan, you have already prioritized who gets your attention. And Bob from accounting, he wouldn't have been your welcome back to the office. While this may seem as though I have oversimplified the situation, ask yourself how you could put some barriers in place using some simple solutions. As humans, we are so good at deciding something can't change because we're built to instinctually reject change. Humans tend to avoid change because it seems difficult or painful even. And it is your brain's job to protect you from that pain and difficulty by telling you that change isn't possible or it's just going to be too hard. Yes, some of it might be, but I think you need to choose your hard. Do you take tough path number 1 with no change that leads you to continuing to be stressed out? Or do you take tough path number 2 that requires you to adjust but leads to less stress and more happiness? When it comes to making change, you need to start with something simple. Your brain needs those initial victories to start building neural pathways that tell it that it can adapt. This will also help you build your confidence and change your attitude to a more positive outlook. Let me talk about a strategy and go through the steps. First, pick a simple problem that is causing some stress or some chaos in your day. Example of simple issues could be managing the notifications on your phone, creating a schedule, asking your kids to do a chore, or taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Second, consider the outcome that you would like from making this change. Are you looking to free up time, energy, help focusing? What stress will making this change release from your life? Third, brainstorm a list of possible solutions. Let's use that example of asking your kids to complete a chore. Solutions could include just asking politely for help, giving them a list of chores to choose from, tying the chore to a reward, or taking 15 minutes each day where everyone does their chore at the same time. And fourth, looking at your list of solutions, which solution is not only the easiest to implement, but also has the best chance for success. Keep that list handy so you can try something else should your initial efforts not work out. And 5, once you have made this change and it is in a format that's working, take a moment to absorb that successful change. Give your brain that opportunity to connect that you made a successful change and that everything's okay.